Hello, this is Jim Kaufman with Rankin Technical College. In this video, we will do a quick introduction of some of the popular technologies used to build modern web applications. So we're going to be looking at three different technologies. One is React, the second one's Node, and the third one's Vite. And so React is basically a JavaScript library. Node is considered a runtime environment, and Vite's actually a build tool, and we'll briefly go into that as well. So let's look at first. I think I'd like to look at some statistics on frameworks. So here's a this Statistica site here. Here's the popular frameworks as of 2023, and you can see Node.js being the first, React, jQuery, Express. So actually, in this course, or I should say, in this program, we will be using at least three out of four of them. The jQuery stuff, we kind of went into that. I just did a quick little video on that. It's still used extensively, but as far as building, usually most of the newer applications being built are being used with newer frameworks. So we've got also the fourth one on the list is Express. And Express is actually a routing tool, and it's used for like doing requests and responses, and that will be part of the second year course, the Database Development 1 course. So you'll be doing a lot of Node, React, and Express in that Database Driven 1 class in the second year. So what is React? React is an open source JavaScript library for building user interfaces, particular single page applications. And when we're saying single page applications, we're talking about basically, all of you're not clicking a link and going to a different page in your application. You're basically, what you're doing is you may, based on the user's interaction with that page, it may update different parts of that page, but you're not going to actually individual other pages. Okay, so that's kind of a single page application. It's maintained by Facebook and a community of developers. React allows developers to create large web applications that can update and render efficiently in response to data changes. So some of the key features of React, it's basically a component-based architecture. And in React, basically everything's a component. Components are reusable and can manage their own state, which makes it easier to build complex UIs by breaking them down into smaller, more manageable pieces. So over here in this image here, we've got, these are basically different components. So a web page broke in different components. And for React, let's say, you could have your nav bar being a component, different components on the content of your page, your footer being a component. And also, you could even have it broken down much more than that. Your nav bar could have a component which is maybe links would be, part of the nav bar is links. That could be one component. Maybe you have a search box in there, and that could be a separate component. So those would be basically child components. That search bar and those links would be child components of your basic navbar component. Okay. Over here on the right-hand side, this is more of a mobile app. And let me make this just a little bit bigger. See it a little better here. So over here, it's basically you've got a product table. So basically this outline here is the whole table. So basically your product table is your component. And then under that, you've got child components. You have a search bar and a product table. So here, this inside part is the search bar, and then your product table is this other one down here. And your product table is made up of two different components. One would be a product category row, which is like here, you've got sporting goods and electronics. And then you have product rows, which are, the football, baseball, basketball, etc. Right? So this is kind of an example of using components like more on in a mobile app, and talking about a little bit here about child components, right? Child components of a parent component. So another key feature of React is React uses what's called a virtual DOM. And it does this to improve performance. The virtual DOM is a lightweight copy of the actual DOM. So when the state of an object changes, when something changes in that DOM, React updates the virtual DOM first and then compares it to the actual DOM and then makes the necessary updates. I could see, in a lot of ways you would think that that'd be slower, but actually the way that React has that configured, it's actually much faster than updating the original DOM. And so here, let's just say, basically here, let me copy this over here. So in React, here's the regular DOM. Here would be the virtual DOM. React would update this virtual DOM, and based on this, it would find the most efficient way to update the regular DOM. And the reason the regular DOM can be so slow is because it triggers what's called reflows and repaints. And what that means is a reflow. So whenever the DOM changes, the browser recalculates the position and geometry of all the parts of the web page. So actually, we went up here above where we had these components. It basically it would recalculate the position of all these different components, everything on your web page, right? And that's basically called reflow. And the other one is repaint, and that's when the browser redraws the web page to show all the visual updates resulting from the change. So those two things really slow down the regular DOM, and that's kind of the benefit of the virtual DOM. And it works by determining the minimal number of operations you need to update the real DOM. And it just leads to better performance and less memory usage. Another key feature of React is the JSX syntax. And this is an extension for JavaScript that allows, what it allows you to do, it allows you to, let's make this even a little bigger. So it allows you to write HTML-like code within the JavaScript. And so you can see in here in this example, you've got this function named component, and you've got this return. And within this return, you have what is basically HTML code. Now, also within this HTML code, you can also have other JavaScript logic in here. So, this is just a basic example, but, there's a lot more JavaScript that can be embedded within that HTML page as well. Within, not that page, but that HTML segment, should say. So also React has what's called a one-way data binding. And that basically means that data flows in one direction. It flows from the parent component to the child component, okay? And this just ensures better control over the application state, and it makes debugging much easier. Also, React uses a declarative approach. So using this declarative approach, it makes it easier to design interactive UIs. Developers can describe how the UI should look for different states, and React will handle the updates when the data changes. React also has an ecosystem and tooling. Um, it has a rich ecosystem with various libraries and tools. Some popular tools include React Router for routing, Redux for state management, and many others. So some of the benefits of using React, due to the virtual DOM, React applications are very fast and efficient. So it's very, has very good performance. It's modular, using the component-based architecture, promotes reusability and modularity. So when we're basically saying reusability, you can create a component that you use on one page, and then you can actually, you reuse that component for another page, right? You don't have to sit there and cut and paste code from one page to another. You just bring in that component, right? So you write it once, and you can use it in multiple places. And this modularity leads to cleaner and more maintainable code. Okay. It has a large community of extensive documentation, makes it easier to find help and resources. React is very flexible. It can be used for the web, it can be used for mobile, and even virtual reality applications. Okay. So here's some use cases for React single page applications, where you may just update certain pieces of a page based on the user interactions with that page, as opposed to a multi-page thing where you click it and go to a different page, right? Interactive web applications. You have what's called, and also mobile applications, and you have what's called progressive web applications. And basically, a progressive web application is a application that's built using the web platform of technologies, but that provides a user experience like that of a platform-specific app. And in conclusion of React, React has become one of the most popular frameworks for building modern web applications, and that's due to the performance, flexibility, and developer-friendly features. Its component-based architecture, and efficient rendering process makes it an excellent choice for developing complex and dynamic web interfaces. So next thing I wanted to go into is Node.js. And Node.js is a runtime environment. It's an open source cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment that allows developers to execute JavaScript code outside of the web browser. It uses Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. So basically, you can actually run JavaScript on the command line, and also, there's other embedded options as well. It was initially released in 2009. It's known for its ability to handle asynchronous operations, making it ideal for building scalable network applications. Where with asynchronous operations, basically multiple things can happen all at one time, and so you're not necessarily just sitting there waiting for one response until you move on to the next. With asynchronous, you can be doing multiple things at once. Okay. So key features of Node: it's an event-driven architecture, and like we were just saying, it's a non-blocking I/O model, and that non-blocking I/O model means basically it doesn't stop and wait. It doesn't stop and wait for a response. It can make multiple responses, and it can move on, and then at some point in time it will be, your one response will be updated, but the code you can continue to execute your code, right? Multiple connections simultaneously without creating multiple threads. So you don't have multiple threads. You can have multiple connections without creating multiple threads. Okay, I think we already talked about that. Single programming. Developers can use JavaScript for both client-side and server-side scripting. So as we've said before, I know like in introduction early on in this course, we talked about Talked about how Node, JavaScript, JavaScript in general was for many years only really a client side technology. But with the introduction of Node, and some other smaller frameworks not as popular, but it really was with the introduction of Node, that you could actually do a lot of server side, uh, a lot of server side scripting with JavaScript, as opposed to it just JavaScript just being for the client side, right? So another key features here is this using this package manager called npm, and this allows developers to share and reuse code. It actually helps you to be able to import things into your project and that. And so we'll see how that works, right? So we're going to be using Node with React and also Vite to build some applications. Okay. Scalability. Node is designed to build scalable network applications. It is event driven. It has low latency and high throughput. Okay. So some common use cases of Node is you can basically build your own web servers, right? Just simple little web servers to handle things. Um, it's another use case is real-time applications, such as chat apps, online gaming, collaboration tools, etc. And it's all about handling multiple connections concurrently, right? Also, another use case for Node is API microservices. It's ideal due to its lightweight nature and ability to handle those asynchronous operations. Okay. So, in conclusion, Node revolutionizes the way JavaScript is used, extending its capabilities from the client side to the server side. And, it makes it a perfect choice for building scalable, high performance network applications. So, the last technology I want to go over in this video is Vite. And Vite's a modern build tool that enhances web development with its emphasis on speed and efficiency. It has what's called hot module replacement. So what happens is when you use Vite, you use Vite to actually create your boilerplate code, and it's embedded in your application so that when you make changes to your code, it will automatically and very quickly update the browser. So it's very handy for that. It really requires minimal configuration. It works with multiple frameworks, not just React. We're going to be using it with React, but it also works with other modern web development frameworks. So actually, even to use it, you don't even need to do much. All you do is enter using the Node package manager, the npm. You will go ahead and just enter some simple commands, and it will build out all your boilerplate code. Also, it does have some. It's very helpful for production deployments. It has some integrations that'll help with deploying to production. So, not a lot really needed to know about Vite. It's kind of just really part of the process there, and so you'll see it when we start building some of these web applications using these technologies. So that's all I have today. The next thing we'll go ahead and cover is getting your environment configured to use these technologies. Thanks and have a good day.